Fucking up Venezuela, that shit doesn't affect us at all. It's gonna affect Brazil. It's gonna affect Colombia. It's gonna affect Panama. It's gonna affect Bolivia. It's gonna affect Ecuador. But it's not gonna affect us. It won't even matter.
If it's supportive of it, and whether or not the president believes Israel should accept it.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Hamas accepted this.
I don't want to hear this one. I don't want to talk about that yet.
A trio of U.S. Navy destroyers will soon deploy to the waters off Venezuela. The USS Gravely, Samson, and Jason Dunham in an effort to combat illegal
He's lucky they didn't send out a fucking aircraft carrier.
drug smuggling. Those deployments, part of the Pentagon's expanded role in countering Latin American drug cartels. Back in February, the State Department designated several cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and in recent weeks reportedly gave the go-ahead for U.S. military to...
He says U.S. doing this shit for theatrics.
NewsNation's Joe Khalil is live in Washington. And Joe, that could possibly happen inside foreign countries.
Yeah, that's right. So macro, that is the concern here, that this could be potentially strikes in different places. More concretely, just right off the bat, it does seem to be an escalation between the United States and the Venezuelan government, the Maduro regime, certainly no friend of the United States. Tension there as the U.S. now, the Pentagon has authorized these 3 naval ships to be on the coast there as a part of President Trump's larger...
Honestly, chat, if I'm a dictator or a president of a nation and I see them 3 bitches pull up on my fucking shore, I'm fleeing the country, dude. I'm grabbing all the money I can, no cap, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing this. I'm grabbing all the money I can from my country, stealing all that shit, and I'm fleeing. I'm fleeing, bro. You're not, catch me later, bro. I'm taking all the money I can, and I'm getting my ass out of that bitch. I'm going to some country with no extradition, like fucking Dubai, and you're never going to hear from me again. That would be the smart move to make. Because you're fucked.
Strategy to try to combat...
You're fucked.
In foreign countries, particularly in Central and South America, that are manufacturing, sending, and selling drugs.
It's GG's for you, bro.
There could be more in the region, by the way. Reuters reporting that some 4,000 Marines and others that could be potentially deployed to the Caribbean region more generally there. In response to that, this week on state television, President Maduro announced that he is preparing somewhere between 4 and 5 million militiamen.
He's an idiot.
Prepared and armed, he says. And then he went on at a public event to say, and I'm going to quote...
He's going to get so fucked.
He says, the empire has gone mad and renewed its threats to Venezuelan peace and tranquility, without referencing the U.S. directly, but again, saying the empire there. So in the first few weeks of the Trump administration, President Trump did sign an executive order that designated several cartels in other countries as terrorist organizations. You see some of them here on your screen, and the State Department put that into their official policy just a few weeks later. So that move opened up a whole range of new options for the Pentagon there. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell shared with NewsNation a statement.
This is a strategic move because by designating them terrorist groups, they got free reign to do whatever they want to them because they're no longer a part of the government. They're not a part of a government. They're not a militia. They're not an army. The rules of engagement don't apply. They can just go in and fuck them up with blanket as a fucking empty letter, blank carpet permission to do whatever the fuck you want to them. That's why they changed them from being drug cartels to terrorist groups.
This morning about this deployment of American personnel and naval ships. And he says, quote, this requires a whole of government effort, and through coordination with regional partners, the Defense Department will undoubtedly play an important role towards meeting the president's objective to eliminate the ability of these cartels to threaten territory, safety, and security of the United States and his people. There are also some reports that are surfacing about potential American strikes in other countries in Latin America. So far, though, the Pentagon, neither they nor the White House are confirming any of those reports to us.
And Joe, we know Congress is still on its summer recess, but lawmakers absolutely have a role here, especially if and when it comes to possible military actions in other countries. So what are you hearing?
Yeah, and we reached out again today. A lot of silence at this point
They're
from
not gonna say anything.
just
What the fuck are the lawmakers gonna say?
in the last couple of days. But I can tell you, having covered this, and this idea had been floated for some time now, we've heard from lawmakers, Republican and Democrat, who say that they would like to see more participation, more cooperation from some of the governments that are our allies if they have cartels operating within their borders. But certainly there is some willingness, especially among Republicans, to support President Trump if, in fact, there's an escalation, if there are actual strikes in other countries. Some lawmakers are hesitant about that simply because they don't want to see any American boots on the ground. That discussion isn't yet being had, but obviously it's a concern when we talk.
This Maduro guy is an idiot. That's my conclusion here, Chad. He's an idiot. Look, there's only two choices you have when you're in a situation like this. I've seen it. We've all seen it time and time again. You have two choices. One choice is to surrender immediately and leave. Second choice is to stay and fight. But every time a dictator or a president of some country that is in America's crosshairs decides to fight, they get fucked. Look at Gaddafi. So it's a bad move. Like if you have the eye of the empire on you and you're in the crosshairs, the best thing you can do is fucking run. Run. This is literally a repeat of this, chat. This is what it is. Let's see if we can find one that's not going to get us copyrighted. Okay. Operation Just Cause. This is the exact same excuse. I want to see if they're going to explain the excuse, though.
25 years ago, on December 20th, 1989, a force of about 26,000 American soldiers invaded Panama in Operation Just Cause. General Manuel Noriega, who had ruled the country from 1983 to 1989, was removed from power, arrested, and brought to the United States for trial. Next, 7 minutes of video from the C-SPAN archives. First, the announcement of the operation by White House spokesman Marlon Fitzwater. Then President George H.W. Bush speaking from the Oval Office. And finally, some Pentagon video recorded in Panama during the invasion.
They fucked that shit up, bro.
The president has directed United States forces to execute at 1:00 a.m. this morning pre-planned missions in Panama to protect American lives, restore the democratic process, preserve the integrity of the Panama Canal treaties, and apprehend Manuel Noriega. The situation in Panama under General Noriega has reached a crisis. Democratic elections have been thwarted. American lives have been endangered. The integrity of the Panama Canal treaties is at risk. General Noriega is under indictment for drug-related charges, and the president has made every effort.
Drug-related charges. It's just I mean, honestly, it don't matter. Look, the problem with Central America, chat, I'm going to say it, and some people might not like it. There's always going to be drug trafficking, dude. No matter what you do, there's going to be drug trafficking, chat. Because it's the perfect climate to grow drugs. There's always going to be a guy who's willing to grow drugs. There always is. And that guy who's willing to grow drugs is always going to have hella money because he's going to have a bunch of customers that want to buy the drugs from him to traffic it. And with money comes power. And with power, he gets political influence. And either he himself becomes a politician or family members of him become politicians and they start running the country. It's the same story every single time, bro. And it's not going to stop, chat. It will never stop. It will never stop. It's an unstoppable problem. As long as the trees, the plants that exist to make the drugs exist,